theories and lore to expand because we're only in the first chapter so far. And one of my theories I'm gonna put out there, okay, but it may not be anywhere close to what's gonna happen. But right now, we don't know. But it would be kind of cool if like what's inside those costumes are actually people.
Did you hear him?
It would be kind of cool if like what's inside those costumes are actually people that were like playing the mascots that sort of became infused with the costume, like that one Godzilla.
Oh, you know that. You know that. I thought you did. I actually thought you did not. I legit thought you didn't know Godzilla. I legit thought you don't know the man in the suit. You didn't know that.
Pasta, I forget what it's called. Or like in the movie Tusk, which if you haven't seen that
What the heck
movie,
is
God, you're
happening?
so lucky. I want to be in your position so bad. But in Tusk, the whole premise of the movie is a crazy scientist guy like sedates this guy and kidnaps him, and then he fuses his body with other body parts to create a human walrus. Yeah, I really didn't know what I was expecting getting into that movie. And if you're curious now and you're like, I want to watch that movie, if you watch it, it's not my responsibility, okay? You did this to yourself. But if that was like similar to what happened to Molly and Lloyd, I think that'd be really cool. Now, there's two theories that I really quickly want to add in. So we're introduced to this character at the start of the game in like a cutscene that's sort of like, he seems like the Walt Disney of like Indigo Productions or something. But my prediction, okay, this is based on literally nothing, but my prediction is that his consciousness was sort of transferred into the code of Rambly. I know it sounds insane, but I'm going to call it now, okay? That's my prediction. It's a one crazy prediction, all right? Because it's just something feels off. I feel like Rambly is like using us kind of, as much as I love Rambly and as cool of a character as he is. I'm so sorry if I'm wrong here, but he just seems like there's something off. I don't know. And I feel like he's probably the guy behind it. And in the end, we're going to be like, oh my God, he was just like Glitchtrap. I was right earlier. And a second,
The man.
not really a theory, but like a prediction, is that when you die to Molly, it says that she can like repeat phrases or things she's heard. And I feel like it's gonna be the sort of the same situation as like the Mimic. Like we're gonna get led to some location that we weren't really meant to go to because Molly's been able to like replicate Rambly's voice or something. That's another prediction for what I think is gonna happen in another chapter of the game. But those are just two predictions
Man,
I
I
want to
hate
put
my
out there
life.
so that if they do happen,
You
you
and
can be
me
like,
is
I
here
told
going
you so.
hitting by
See, but
cars.
like overall, I think whatever the team decides to do with the game is going to be great. And honestly, I'm pretty hyped for chapter 2.
Is the latest installment to the FNAF franchise. And thanks to the
Oh,
teaser trailer and demo that fans were able
hey,
to
look
enjoy
at
in
dinosaurs.
previews, we now know more about this game's story, characters, and gameplay. But something we know little to nothing about is who we are going to play as and who the main protagonist is going to be. I've already made a video covering this mystery, but now I want to go more in depth of this topic by introducing the concept that the Afton family will have a role in this game. So in this video, I'm going to go over the possibility of the Afton family being in FNAF's Secret of the Mimic, and more specifically, if any of them are going to be the protagonist. Like I mentioned, the demo for Secret of the Mimic revealed a lot about this game's structure and gameplay. We first learned that the demo has two different levels, a level focused in the manager's office and a level focused on a chase. We also learned that this game will take place in a factory. Now this is not where many fans expected the game to take place, as originally fans including myself thought it would take place in a carnival. The same carnival we learned that Fall Fest took place, which was a carnival in the FNAF world that took place in the early 1970s. But now we know this game will take place in a factory, and although this wasn't expected, the setting does sound interesting and a lot could be done with a simple factory, especially with the Mimic. And finally we learned that there isn't much connection to the other FNAF games, except for Fedware Family Diner posters from Security Breach
Don't
that are on
forget
the walls
me.
and schematics for what appears to be a mascot version of Mr. Hippo. So it looks like Secret of the Mimic will explore the mediocre melodies and their origins, and it's also possible that they might show up somewhere else in the game in the form of mascot animatronics. But one thing we learn little to nothing about is who we are going to play as and who is going to be the protagonist. Like I mentioned, I've already made a video
Don't be
going over
late,
different theories
employees.
of who to play as, but now I want to discuss one crucial theory I didn't discuss in the last video. What if in FNAF Secret of the Mimic we play as a member from the Afton family? We know Secret of the Mimic is going to take place in the year 1979, meaning it's now the earliest FNAF game in the timeline, with it taking place 4 years before FNAF 4. So it would make a lot of sense if the Afton family were to appear in this game, and again, what if if we played as one of them. But because this game takes place in 1979, that means the only family members that we'd actually be able to play as are William and Michael Afton. We can assume that the crying child and Elizabeth Afton would be too young to actually be the protagonist
And possibly the mother.
of this game, and although Michael would be young, I still see the possibility of him being the main character. And with William Afton being the CEO of Fazbear's Entertainment, if this factory has any connection to the company, then of course William Afton will as well. So now let's start to look at the possibility of both these characters being the protagonists, starting with William. Although the FNAF franchise has been around for 10 years now, William Afton is still a character we know. We can make assumptions of where he was and what he's done in certain time periods throughout the series, but again, this is just assumption. So it could very easily be that there was a time period where William Afton was in this factory with the Mimic or Jackie and was attempting to complete some objective and task. This wouldn't interfere with any existing lore, and all it would do is expand William Afton's story. It would actually be very interesting to finally play as William, as we would finally learn more about his motives and who exactly he
Finally
is.
play
It would be a
William.
perfect opportunity to connect Secret of the Mimic to the original games and characters in the franchise. If we do play as William Afton, there's also a chance that it would be revealed that William is connected to Jackie in some way. It could even be possible that in the games he was the one who created Jackie or the Mimic, unlike in the novels where it was revealed that Edwin Murray created the Mimic. Now, although it is very possible that we could play as William, my only issue with this idea or theory is why? Why would William Afton, who again is the CEO, be in this factory? Especially during this time when Fredbear's Family Diner is open, and we know this location is open as we see posters advertising this pizzeria in the demo. So wouldn't William Afton be too busy running that pizzeria while also wearing the Spring Bonnie suit and entertaining the children? So because of this, I think it makes even more sense that we would play as Michael Afton. It's already been theorized that we play as Michael Afton in every single core FNAF game, so if we also played as him in Secret of the Mimic, it would also continue the trend of Michael being the protagonist in all these games leading
You
to
would
FNAF
become
Pizzeria
that man.
Simulator. Now, how Michael ends up in this factory could be because of any reason, but the main idea or theory is that Michael would be trying to escape this factory and trying to escape Jackie. We could learn more about Michael's character throughout this
Isn't
game, and it would be
Manly
another great way of
simple
connecting this
itself?
first FNAF game to the earliest era of the franchise. Michael would only be slightly younger than when he was in FNAF 4, and it would still make a lot of sense that he would be the main character. Although it could also be very possible that Michael Afton could be the protagonist in Secret of the Mimic, there are a few issues that come to mind, starting with his lore. Unlike William Afton, we do know a lot more about Michael Afton and his story. We know for a fact that he appears in FNAF 4 and was responsible for his younger brother's death when he threw him into the mouth of Fredbear. We also know he appears in FNAF's sister location as the main character when he goes down to the underground bunker to look for his sister Elizabeth. He is then scooped by this machine at the end of that game.
This
His
machine.
inside's taken out and he literally becomes the purple guy. There's a lot
He
of history
legit.
that is assumed
He
that
is
this
not.
is what we
He
know
not
for a
the
fact,
man
and most
that
importantly,
wear
we know
purple.
Mike kept the journal.
He is
More
the purple
specifically, He
man.
owns this survival logbook. In the beginning of the book, we see Mike's name written into it, and throughout the book, he leaves notes or drawings that we know were left by him. There's references to almost all core FNAF games, which is why it's believed that he's the main character in all these games. But obviously, something that isn't mentioned is Jackie. Jackie or the Mimic was created years after this book was even released, so it would have been impossible to add Jackie into this book. Which is why if Michael was the main character in Secret of the Mimic, it would almost feel like the games are creating new lore and story for him. It would be interfering with his existing lore, and they would need to explain how Mike was in this factory, how he survived Jackie, and how none of it affected him to the point where we don't see it mentioned anywhere else in the franchise. Because there is some lore and story surrounding Michael, it would be hard to add completely brand new lore to a story that is supposed to happen so early on in his life.
Ugly clown.
Which
Ugly,
brings me
God
to the
knows.
next big issue, which is that it might introduce too much lore and story. It can be argued that one of the biggest strengths of this franchise is the mystery behind it and its characters. This allows for theories to be made on these mysteries, but if one of these major mysteries, like the character of Michael, is all of a sudden solved in one game, then there wouldn't be a need for theories, which is taking a crucial part away from the franchise. And I don't think Studio Studios or Scott Cawthon would want to reveal too much about the Afton family, which is why I also don't
Oh,
think Michael Afton
things
is going to
wrong.
be the
We
protagonist in
live eternally. All things well. The After family. Lives ain't fail to pure insanity. All things well in the After family.
Secret of the Mimic. Now, although I don't think Michael will be the protagonist in this game, I still do believe that the Afton family will have a role in this game in some form or another. It could be something as major as William Afton or Michael being a supporting character, or something smaller where the Afton family is mentioned multiple times, or something extremely small like a name drop or even a picture of the Afton family. But because this game is going to take place in 1979 and so early on in the timeline, it's hard to deny that the Afton family will have some role in this game even if it's small. So because it wouldn't make sense for William to be in this factory where Secret of the Mimic takes place since he is the CEO of the company and he would be too busy at Fredbear's Family Diner, William Afton will not be the protagonist of this game. Because it would be nearly impossible to add this much lore and story to Michael Afton's character, I don't believe that Mike will be the main protagonist either. But we can expect that the Afton family will have some role in FNAF's Secret of the Mimic. But this is all just a theory.
It's just a theory of Game Theory and Cut.
So what do you guys think? Will the Afton family be in this game and to what extent?
I guess will, I don't know quality.